Hi everyone, welcome back to my lab and today's video in which I'm going to be doing a review and demonstration of the Sephora Collection Deep Clean Sonic Clean Brush Cleaner. I recently shared my Sephora haul with you, the one from the summer bonus event, and this was one of the items that got the most attention in my haul. A lot of you were curious to see how the product would function, and so I'm here to share that with you. I do of course like to focus my videos on the things that most interest you, and so here we are. Before we get into the video, if you're new here, I'm Jody. Thank you so much for clicking on my video. I hope you'll like it. I hope you'll consider subscribing and joining my makeup family. I do bring you 3 videos every single week on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday at 9 a.m. Central Time. Now, without any further delay, let's get into this review. If you're not new to my channel, you'll already know how much I love makeup brushes, and I actually find cleaning my makeup brushes a little bit therapeutic. I enjoy it. I play a makeup video and I zone out washing my brushes. However, when I saw that this product was advertised on Sephora, I was really interested in it because it's supposed to really deep clean your brushes in an easier way and just speed up the process a little bit. One of the things that interested me the most about it was that the sonic cleaning feature is supposed to reduce the amount of scrubbing that you actually do. I have some very expensive natural hair brushes that I would prefer to extend their lifetime, and so I thought maybe this would help in cleaning them up. So let's go over what you get inside the package. When you open it up, you get an instruction pamphlet. The instructions are pretty easy to follow, but I'll walk you through it. And inside the plastic container is another cup. It has a screw top feature, and inside is the electronic device. This is just a plastic fitting where the electronic device sits, and you have your brush at the bottom. So let's take a look at this first. If you look at it like this in profile, you see that this side is a little bit longer. That one is intended to be for face brushes, and the other side is shorter, which is for eye brushes. Now, typically if you buy a silicone mat to buy your makeup brushes, all of the prongs are of the shorter nature, and so I was really curious to see what the longer prongs would do in terms of cleaning my makeup brushes. Depending on what kind of brush you're going to use, you will place the silicone pad inside the dispenser like this, and you want to fill it up with water. Now, you want to avoid getting any water inside the ferrule because that will cause it to become detached and damage the bristles. So I typically like to keep my water level relatively low. Basically, I just want to fill it so that when I submerge the brush, the bristles are submerged, but it doesn't go as far as the top of the ferrule. You want to be really careful about that. The device itself comes like this. It does come with a USB cable, which is a charger. It doesn't come with the outlet portion of it though, so I just use the one from my iPhone and it's been working fine. It plugs in here at the bottom. There is a silicone cap that you can use to remove where the charger is, and when it's plugged in, there is a light indicator to let you know that the product is charging. That does turn off when it's fully charged. Now, when you look at the device itself, there is a sticker here that indicates that the bristles go in this direction, and in the instruction manual, it suggests that you place the top of the handle aligned with the charging port to get the maximum vibration. One of the main complaints that I was noticing when people were reviewing this product on Sephora.com is that the rubber belt that is used to hold the brush in place is a little hard to position. There are 3 positions, and I found that the 3 are very suitable for pretty much any makeup brush that I own. Kabuki brushes and things with very short handles are just not going to work well with this, but for your typical makeup brushes, it works really well. So what I have found in practice is that I actually prefer to place the belt in a position that will satisfy a specific brush. For most of my face brushes, I use the second, and for my eye brushes, I'll use the smallest loop. If you look at the product up close, there is a little prong here, which is where you would attach the belt. So what I have found is that I actually prefer to attach the belt in the position that I'm going to use. And then what I do is I actually insert the brush in this direction. Just for demonstration purposes, you'll see here that the brush is held in position and the brush handle is held flush with the top of the charging port. The on and off switch is this push button here on the back side of the device. So there it is on the intermediate setting, and you can see that the brush isn't going to go anywhere. Now, one of the things that I notice is that depending on how I push down on the button, sometimes it turns on and sometimes it doesn't. So right now I just pressed it lightly and the vibrations begin, but if you press it and hold it down, it remains with the vibrations. On camera, it's probably, let me turn this off. On camera, it's probably hard to see that the bristles are vibrating, but they actually are. Basically, all you do is dip the brush into the little prongs of the silicone pad at the bottom. Sometimes I'll sweep it across just very lightly, and I find that it completely removes all of the soil and makeup from my brushes really, really well. I was actually really impressed. Now, because putting the belt on and off is a little bit difficult, I prefer to remove the brush without loosening the belt and then just sliding another brush in there. But what you want to do is you want to be really careful not to pull from the ferrule, because especially if the brush is not as well made, you begin to loosen this and that's when you have the ferrules coming off of the handle. So I prefer to push it from the top, push it down far enough so that I can actually grab it by the handle and remove the brush. And then when I'm ready to clean another brush, I will simply slide it up there like this one. It's a similar size brush and I can slide it up there and start the cleaning process again. So what I found is basically you have to kind of get into a system, and it took me a little trial and error to figure out what my favorite system was going to be. But what I decided is the best thing that works for me is to separate my brushes depending on their handle sizes. I have the thicker ones, the intermediate ones, and the very small ones for eye brushes, and I wash each one as a set. In the instructions, they recommend using the Sephora Detox Deep Cleaning Brush Shampoo, and essentially what I'll do is I'll actually squirt the shampoo directly onto the dry bristles, and then I will go into the reservoir. You could use something like the Beauty Blender Solid, which is something that I really enjoy for brush cleaning, but that one you have to get it wet. So you would have to dampen the brush first and then put it in the Beauty Blender Solid and then put it into the reservoir. And it's just a few more extra steps. So I liked using this directly onto the brush and then into the reservoir. Now, because I don't keep too much water in here, I find that basically what happens is that you will still have a little bit of soap residue on your brush, and even on the instruction pamphlet they advise that you do a rinse cycle. So you want to use the soap, clean it in there, then you want to change the water and you want to do a cycle without soap. And it's really important that you do that because otherwise a little bit of the soap residue remains and then your brush is a little bit sticky, which I definitely don't like. But in order to reduce the amount of water that you're using, usually what I'll do is I will wash a few brushes and reuse the same water that's there, lay them to the side, and then change out the water and do the rinse cycle with each different brush. You could also do the cleaning here and then use just water from the faucet as a rinse cycle, but I prefer to use the little pad for the rinse cycle because I find that it's just a lot faster. I have found that with one charge of the device, I can wash all my brushes, but typically I wash my brushes weekly, and in 1 week's time I don't accumulate that many brushes. But if you're wanting to do a bulk set of brushes all in one time, you may have to recharge your device. It won't last as long. Another thing that it recommends is after you do the rinsing to actually let the brush vibrate in the device for a little bit, just in the air, to remove some of the excess water. I don't typically do that. Usually I'll take a microfiber cloth and just wipe my brush downward to remove the water, and then I'll just set it down to dry. Now, of course, I don't want to just sit here and talk about it. I want you to be able to see how it cleans the brushes. So I'm going to clean these two brushes that I've been using in the demonstration. The first one is a Luxie Beauty small contour brush that I've been using for both cream contour, but I also use it for foundation. I shared that one in my favorites videos. And then this one is a ColourPop angled blush brush that I've been using for cream blush. So you can see the bristles have the red staining there. And then we're going to clean two eye brushes. These are both natural hair brushes. One is the Morphe by Jeffree Star JS6 brush, and the other one is a Smith Cosmetics 235 brush. And these have white bristles, and as you can see, they are stained, or not stained, but they're dirty with pigments. I use these brushes in my tutorial for the Manny MUA Strawberry Dreams collection, and usually red pigments are very difficult to remove from, especially these white-haired brushes. So I want you to see how the device functions with brushes such as these. So right now I just have some clean water and I have the longer prongs upward. So we're gonna start with this brush. Look at how it looks like right now. This is the one that has cream blush on it. And here's the device. So again, I'm just gonna put the brush in there, and you want to align the top of the brush with the charging port, and then you have the brush like this. I have my soap here, and I'm just going to put the soap directly onto the brush. So as you can see, I'm just rubbing the bristles back and forth across the surface. I'm not scrubbing. And you can see how the water moves because of the sonic. So then what I was saying was, rather than pulling from down here, I actually push the brush down until I can grab it by the handle to make sure that I'm not going to be pulling on the ferrule. And then I just insert another brush. This one is the Luxie brush I've been using for foundation. So again, I just slide it in there, add some brush cleaning solution, push the button. And you can see how the water is changing color. Okay, this time we're going to clean an eyeshadow brush. I already added some soap. I inserted the brush into the device, and you can see that I aligned the handle at the top, and I flipped over the silicone pad. And I'm just going to run the bristles along. So again, that was a pink pigment. Now I'm going to take it out by pushing the handle down until I can grab it by the handle and remove it. And we're going to do this brush, which also has pink pigment. Again, I'm just gonna slide it inside until it's got a good grip. Add some soap. And the pigment is gone. So at this point, you would do the rinse cycle, which you would repeat exactly the same way. And after the rinse cycle, they recommend just using the vibration to dry off the brush a little bit. And at this point, you can just set the brushes to dry or put brush shapers if you like. But you can see that all the color was released from the brush. And here's what the brush looks like after the rinse cycle. This one was the blush brush and the two eyeshadow brushes. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing the demo of how I've washed my makeup brushes. It does a really good job of washing the brushes in my opinion. I actually really like the device. I've enjoyed washing my brushes here, and I really like in particular that I don't have to scrub too hard to get the product off of my brushes. Just lightly rubbing it along the silicone pad does really well to get the product clean, and so I feel like I'm extending the lifetime of my brush by using this specific device. Like I mentioned earlier, you do kind of have to find your own groove about like how you're gonna switch out the brushes. If you're gonna do all the thicker ones, then the intermediate ones, you kind of have to find your own groove. It takes a little while to get used to it, but once you do, I think that you'll find that the brush cleaner is actually really handy. Now it retails for $40. I didn't pay $40 because I picked it up during the Sephora VIB sale, so that's just something to think about. I'm happy I added it to my collection. I was really curious about this. I don't think I'll necessarily use it all the time, but I think that especially for foundation brushes and products and brushes that you've used cream products on, the fact that you have those longer prongs and the vibrations really get in there and deep clean, whereas otherwise if you were doing it by hand, you'd have to be scrubbing quite vigorously and you could potentially damage your brush. So I've been really liking it. If you have it, I would love to know what you think about it. For the most part, anybody that I've heard use it, they really enjoy it. So I think one of you even told me that you were going to try a makeshift one at home. I would love to know how that's going if you managed to do that. When I'm not using it, pretty much I store it the way that it came. It's been working out really well for me. Let me know if you have any questions that I didn't answer in the comment section down below. I hope that this video was really helpful. I know a lot of you are really curious about the brush cleaner, and I hope that this really helps. Other than that, that's everything for this video. If you did enjoy it, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell if you haven't already. I would love to have you join my makeup family. Other than that, I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are, and I look forward to seeing you again on my next video. Bye-bye.